Half sport and half art, bodybuilding sees giant, oiled-up demigods and goddesses flexing hard on stages around the world. It's a competition dedicated to determining which of them looks biggest and best without an ounce of body fat. Getting to those sizes takes years of hard work and dedication by the bucket load. But for those who want all gain and no pain, there are a few under-the-table options that provide quick results, which can also have disastrous consequences. So let's take a look at some of the weirdest fake bodybuilders ever. Romario dos Santos Alves. How far would you go in a bid to be the real-life Hulk? If you're Romario dos Santos Alves, this mad bid for a giant body will almost cost you both of your arms. The now 30-year-old Brazilian started training to become a bodybuilder when he was in his teens, but at the age of 22, a couple of his bodybuilding bros introduced him to synthol. This substance is a toxic mixture of alcohol, oil, and painkillers, and when injected directly into the muscles, gives them an enlarged appearance. Romario claims that the results quickly became addictive, and he started injecting regularly into his biceps, triceps, and traps. But as you can imagine, substances like this don't stay fluid forever. It slowly began to congeal in Romario's arms, forcing the muscles to harden and become rock-like as his biceps measured in at a giant 25 inches. Despite being in constant pain, losing his job, and getting abuse out on the street, Romario continued injecting. It wasn't until he visited a doctor who said they may need to amputate both of his arms that the severity of what he'd done hit home. Fortunately, Romario has since stopped using synthol, but the only thing this wannabe Hulk will ever get to smash again are those rocks in his arms. Is it just me, or is he looking a little green? Brazilian Hulk brothers. Working out is more fun if you find someone to do it with you. Unfortunately, drug use appears to work on the same mechanic. This is Tony Geraldo and Alvaro Pereira, more commonly known throughout their city of Rio de Janeiro as the Hulk brothers. Since the age of 15, they've been regularly injecting their muscles with a substance known as Pontonate B12, a methamphetamine-based multivitamin drug usually given to sick horses. When injected into the muscle, it acts as a stimulant, driving unprecedented levels of growth when combined with exercise. Alongside stimulant use, the two gents, now 51 and 52, claim to work out together for 4 hours a day and eat up to 6,000 calories. I find that hard to believe considering they don't tend to lift particularly impressive weights on their social media, and any muscle they do have has evacuated their chest. Their resulting 28-inch and 25-inch biceps have been a point of concern for doctors who have insisted they stop injecting, as their skin cannot stretch to accommodate any more muscle growth. Did they say Hulk brothers? To me, it just looks like the Michelin Man and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man got together for a workout session. Brad Castleberry. Fitness influencers will do just about anything to get a handful more subscribers, including faking their content. Brad Castleberry is an ex-footballer, bodybuilder, and powerlifter who has over 780,000 followers on Instagram for mainly posting photos of his gargantuan form and video clips of his impossible-looking workouts. But internet sleuths are claiming that Brad is faking the amount of weights he's using in his videos in a bid to get more social media followers. The main criticism comes when comparing old videos to recent posts, which show no improvement, despite a clear increase in muscle mass. Like this 2018 video of him deadlifting 630 pounds, which is impressive until you see his first video in 2007 showing him deadlifting 675 pounds. 9 years and he's gotten bigger, but somehow worse? That seems strange. Or this video of him squatting a supposed 765 pounds. Aside from the fact that his spotter may be doing a lot of the lifting, that would put this record up there as a powerlifting world record for his weight class under drug testing rules. And yet Castleberry can't be found in any of the listings. Not only that, the bar doesn't seem to be bending as much as it should. Look at 8-time Mr. Olympia winner Ronnie Coleman squatting just 35 pounds more, and you can see the bar is bouncing like a slinky. There's no doubt he's an incredible athlete, but in my books, you can't spell incredible without credible. GRACYANNE Barbosa. On the topic of fake weights, it's obviously not just guys trying to show off at the gym. This is GRACYANNE Barbosa, a bodybuilder and Instagram model who, like Castleberry, has come under fire for the supposed use of fake weights in her viral videos. A video posted to her Instagram in 2017 shows GRACYANNE squatting 10 45-pound plates. Without wearing any kind of professional equipment or even breaking a sweat, she effortlessly squats 10 reps of 450 pounds. That's unbelievable. especially when you compare her to the female powerlifting champion of the time, Wei Ling, squatting a similar amount and clearly showing that the struggle of just one of these reps is real. Looking back at GRACYANNE's video, you'd certainly expect the bar to be bending under all that weight, even just a little. But here it couldn't be straighter than a redneck at NASCAR. But that's not the only fake thing about this Instagram model. Photos from 2013 have emerged of GRACYANNE's unique looking behind. I suppose that's one way to inflate your assets. ARLINDO de SOUZA. Some people get into bodybuilding to achieve their ideal body shape, but for ARLINDO de SOUZA, that ideal shape was a croissant. Also known as the Mountain in his home country of Brazil, ARLINDO is famous not only for his superhuman name, but also for openly admitting to synthol abuse. He didn't really need to admit it though. I think we can all tell from those calves. Ever heard of leg day? Clearly not. According to ARLINDO, he started bodybuilding and injecting around the age of 21, which over the years has developed his biceps into 29-inch mounds. But now almost 50, ARLINDO is suffering from the consequences of repeatedly pumping his muscles with oil. Because of the threat to his health has been repeatedly self-inflicted, doctors have reportedly refused to operate on him unless it's a medical emergency, which is a wake-up call seeing as his friend Paulinho died from complications resulting from synthol abuse. He has reportedly stopped using since then, but the damage is already done. And with that, croissants have been ruined forever. Egyptian Popeye. Substance abuse for aesthetic gain is a fine line, as just a little too much can tip you over into looking obviously fake. But even when the jig is up, some people just refuse to admit the truth, like Mustafa Ismaili, once known around the world as Egyptian Popeye. Mustafa stood out for one main bulging feature: his arms. Unlike the rest of his average body, the biceps and triceps on this man looked like they could barely be contained and measured in at a staggering 31 inches in circumference. In 2012, the Guinness Book of World Records entered him in as having the largest upper arms in the world. But clear drug use like this shouldn't be glorified, should it? Well, according to Mustafa back in 2012, this is an all-natural gun show. Either he thought the rest of the world was blind, or he was delusional enough to believe that the rest of his body matched up in proportion to those bizarre camel hump arms. Since having the title rescinded amidst this obvious drug use controversy, Mustafa disappeared from the public eye in 2016. But don't worry, he's probably off saving olive oil. NATALIYA KUZNETZOVA. It takes a lot of work and commitment to get swole, but if you're a lady reaching for those muscle-bound heights, it's even harder thanks to natural elements like hormones and body structure. But if you remove those barriers using drugs, anything is possible. Just ask NATALIYA KUZNETZOVA. At just 28, this Russian bodybuilder measures in at 5'7" and weighs in at 225 pounds. For context, that's the same competing weight as Arnold Schwarzenegger. She claims to hold world titles for ladies arm lifting, as well as records for the bench press and deadlift. Although the details here are vague, as she's been incredibly open with journalists about her use of anabolic steroids and estrogen blockers. Estrogen is a universally present hormone associated with more feminine physical development, but its presence can also affect muscle growth. Blocking the hormone altogether and taking steroids is more likely to give you a stronger male-coded physique, not forgetting a more baritone voice. While NATALIYA's development is incredibly impressive, it's definitely not natural and is hardly fair to other female competitors in her categories playing by the rules. It should be mentioned that she's also a fan of plastic surgery, which fuels the question of what implants she has had for her more muscular aesthetic gain. Remember ladies, in Russia, body builds you. GREGG VALENTINO. Not injecting yourself with potentially dangerous unknown substances seems like an obvious decision, but if you ever needed warning against it, then GREGG VALENTINO is your man. The once bodybuilder became famous for injecting steroids like testosterone propionate and equipoise directly into his arms, transforming his 21-inch biceps into 28-inch rocks of flesh. He also injected many other parts of his body with the substances and became something of a poster boy for steroid use gone wrong. But being incredibly irresponsible with the needles saw GREGG give himself a bicep infection. After developing a hematoma in one of his arms, GREGG attempted to self-operate. When the pain became too much, GREGG was admitted to hospital where his arm burst. Although doctors were able to save most of the muscle, the obvious dent in his arm served as a severe reminder for this man of stealing steroids never to dabble in drugs again. Valdir Salgado. We've established that nothing good comes from injecting your muscles with synthol, but some people still believe that bigger is always better. Valdir Salgado is one of these people. Discovering synthol 4 years ago, this Sao Paulo citizen went out of his way to gain a balloon animal physique. He's injected synthol into his upper arms, back, and chest in an effort to make himself look like the ultimate gym bro. But unlike many others, he's incredibly proud of his synthol use, even changing his Instagram handle to Valdir Synthol. In his youth, Valdir revealed he was once a stick-thin teen and drug addict, leading to the nickname Skinny Dog. But now in his mid-50s, his addiction to injecting synthol means his doctors are worried about potential nerve damage, disfigurement, stroke, and heart attacks. Unfortunately, finding internet fame and his unique appearance has only spurred Valdir on, with multiple media interviews and 30,000 followers on his Instagram account. He's blowing up. Literally. TERESHIN. MMA fighters follow some of the most intense, grueling fitness regimes on the face of the planet, and most of them have the body to prove it. Although TERESHIN attempted to fast-track this training with disastrously freaky results. This now 24-year-old known as Russian Popeye has injected more than 3 liters of synthol into each of his arms. The size of his weirdly known bazooka arms increased by over 10 inches in just 10 days, and at their peak, these mutated muscles reached a huge 24 inches. Finding internet fame in his bizarre appearance, KIRIL began training for his very first MMA fight against Oleg Mongol. But having arms heavy with oil didn't weigh in his favor and he lost in under a minute. In a bid to show how hard he was, he also tried his hand at the International Slapping Championship in 2019, where he failed spectacularly and almost had all the oil knocked out of him like a soaked sponge. But by the end of 2019, the pain growing in KIRIL's arms was unbearable and he elected to have surgery to remove the damage he'd injected. 6 liters of the petroleum jelly-like substance needs to be removed from his arms, which will take a further 4 surgeries to complete. That was a weird flex, buddy. Which of these did you think was the weirdest? What do you think about the extreme lengths these bodybuilders went to? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.